Alrighty, friends, welcome back to the Town Tailgate. Chris and I are back. We got mimosas filled up, and we're going to talk the end of the Oakland A's regular season, or postseason contention. They still have a series in Houston. They won last night. Really good game. Had a little bit of everything of good of this A's season and a little bit of everything bad in the A's season, if you didn't get a chance to watch.
Wait, can we bring up that poll real quick? Because I think that was the only poll of the week, so we might as well just do it now.
Yeah.
I got it right here.
You got to go ahead and shoot it.
So Julio put a poll up last night in the middle of the game. Are you watching this game? 126 votes and 60% of the audience said no. So A's fans are fatigued on the A's, probably very frustrated as we are.
Yeah, which I get. Absolutely.
I texted you. I mean, like, there was 3 really good college games on. So when the 6:00 game turned on, I for college, I switched it over. I was just like, no point.
Yeah, I was. It was more of a background noise than anything, just making dinner or cleaning up or doing. So, and I caught some cool moments. You know, Ollie hit a 2-run home run, still doing it. Sean and I had a great outing. But really, we're not here to talk about this weekend series. We hope the Astros get swept, just because I think it'll help us a little bit. Mm-hmm. We're just going to talk about the season as a whole. And the other day, I just started kind of writing down a list of all the bad things that happened to this team this year. Let's putting this out there as a caveat. There's 1000% been worse teams, period. You know, we had to deal with an A's team in 2009 where the rotation was top 5 and absolutely no offense, right? And there's teams even before our lifetimes that were just god awful. This might be the worst season I've had to deal with as an A's fan.
I was going to say, so there's definitely been worse teams, but have there been more disappointing teams?
I mean, 2014 is the first thing that comes to mind. And then 2004.
It's this in 2014. And I would say 2014 beats it because we were in first place at the All-Star break. But yeah,
I would say this team, and for this reason, I think the amount of stuff that had happened off the field to really affect this team bled into it.
That's a good point.
So what happened? Here's a quick summary of everything that happened in the 2021 Oakland A's season that was bad for the team. Longtime beat writer Susan Slusser leaves the A's beat for the San Francisco Chronicle and joins the Giants. And guess what? The Giants have just won their 103rd game.
That should have been a sign right there.
Yep, absolutely. From day one. Yep. Those guys, Marcus Semien and Liam Hendricks.
106th game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Great. Marcus Semien and Liam Hendricks both gone. We knew Liam was going to go. Marcus, they even could have offered him something a little more competitive. He was willing to take the discount. They didn't. Marcus is going to finish as a top 3 MVP candidate in baseball. He set the single season record for the number of home runs by a second baseman. Liam Hendricks was an all-star on one of the best teams in all of baseball. And I think another person I told you about him the other day who really, 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 really could have helped this team and nobody talks about it at all is Robbie Grossman. Robbie Grossman has put up a solid ass year with the Tigers. And if you had him as a 4th outfielder instead of, no offense to Seth Brown, he's been playing better lately. Completely different season.
When you sent me that, I wanted to throw my phone against the wall.
Yeah.
Numbers. Can you say the numbers? Do you have them on you? Here, go ahead. I'll say it. I'll look for it.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and keep going. Longtime PA announcer Dick Callahan passes away at the beginning of the season. Amelia Chamel's done a good job, but it's really sad to have that start the season with that. To make up for losing on Marcus and Liam Hendricks, they go and sign Mitch Moreland and Trevor Rosenthal. Trevor Rosenthal does not play a game in an A's uniform. And
we paid him $10 million.
Yep, down the drain. Mitch Moreland was a complete bust. He's pretty much, I don't think he's played in the last month and a half. We don't know why, really. He was like on the COVID IL, but who knows? Either way, that guy was a complete bust this year. They had better people who were able to be a DH to kind of fill in for him.
Julio, the worst part about the Rosenthal thing is that's a deferred contract. So we're going to have to see that someone in the news is going to pop that up. Be like, congratulations, Trevor Rosenthal. It's you get $1 million this year for the next 10 years on top of him never playing a game in the A's uniform. So Robbie Grossman's stats were 248 average. It's about what he normally gets. But he had 23 home runs, 65 RBIs, and a 357 OPS.
You pretty much had another Mark Canha in your lineup.
You had a better Mark Canha. You're
right. You're right, man. Who knows though? Because like he would have had a full-time role. Or he has a full-time role in Detroit.
Yeah.
If he would have been stayed in Oakland, it would have been part-time. But,
but then you move Canha over to right, and you can put Grossman in left, and then you have 2 Gold Glove level outfielders on the corner.
And then if they still made the Marte trade. Yeah. Then it's like I think you would have been able to sleep better at night with those 3 in the outfield every day.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do a quick little 5-second tangent. Watch the Tigers this offseason. I think they're gonna make some big moves. MLB allows the A's to explore other sites. That was back in May. Great. And then following not too long after, we see Dave Kaval start tweeting shit from Vegas, tweeting from the Vegas Knights games, and pretty much any respect that he had amongst the A's fans is gone. His reputation's completely ruined at least into the fan perspective. At the end of the day, that's his job, but I don't think any A's fan really cares for him anymore. After he's done it, after the amount of work he's done the last few years and a lot of admiration he's received, he's lost it all in this last year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Beginning of August. Ray Fosse steps away from the booth. He announces he is battling cancer. Fosse, we're all still with you. There's been a lot of love for him, but obviously it's been a horrible thing to have to deal with. I didn't mention this part. The A's start the season 0-6. That was fun. 4-game sweep by the Astros. And then nearly go
0-6. Wasn't it 0-10 or something like that?
0-6 because there's a 4-game sweep from the Astros. They lose the first 2 to the Dodgers, and then Kenley Jansen blows it. Ramon Laureano suspended for PEDs. That was, everybody says, what's a turning point into that season? I think that was a real moment where like, yep, this is not going to be fun.
That's when we went from a first place team to a wild card team.
Yes, because I think if you have those 3 guys in the outfield, Days would still be playing easily. Even with the bullpen blows, I think those 3 guys would make life a lot easier. And then Chris Bassett gets hit in the face with the line drive and misses a month. That's also the big part of the season where people are like, yep, this is where things are.
And really... that's where we went from a wild card team to not a playoff team.
Yep. I had to add one more thing. The bullpen completely falls to shits. This bullpen that had been pretty steady over the last couple of years. They've been pretty great until this point in the regular season. The Giants series, they blow 2 games and then just consistently blew games throughout the whole rest of the playoff contention run.
Yeah.
Really disheartening. A part of that run also includes losing 14 straight to the Seattle Mariners. It's the most games they've lost in a row to one team since 2011 against the New York Yankees. Matt Chapman sets this single season strikeout record for an Oakland A. He had over 200 strikeouts on the season. He's pretty much our Joey Gallo at this point. And last but not least, when we really thought we were in some contention, but there's still a fighting chance, Elvis Andrus breaks his fibula rounding third. Yeah, this wasn't a fun season at all. This was honestly amidst the stuff that was going on the field with the Ramon suspension, the bullpen falling apart. It was been so hard to like watch some of these games without having to hear some shit about the stadium and start hearing, I don't know. Did you see Ann Killian? I think she's a beat writer for the Chronicle. Can't remember, but she pretty much just dogged the A's stadium like situation and she went and deleted the tweet now, but it's like hearing all this stuff about chatter about the stadium. Are they leaving and all this stuff? Do you think this at the end of the day, the players will never say it. They'll never admit that this is a problem. But do you think at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, this messed me up. Having that thought in my ear. Like having that big of a distraction looming over like messes up.
It's simple as that. It's a distraction. It's a distraction off the field. It's a distraction for Bob Melvin. It's distracted for everybody. It's taking all the headlines when they go to do post-game press conferences. They're asking writers are asking the players about it. And like, what are you going to say if you're a player? You can't really comment on that. Yeah, 1000%, which is the reason why Major League Baseball never realized it, because they're fucking stupid and they're a bunch of old farts who don't want to get out of their way. But John Fisher is bad for baseball. And if they want to change this game, they need to make a change with that ownership.
They need to not allow. I don't want to make this an A's problem, because look, there is other. He is the worst owner in baseball, but there are other owners who are on that level, or not as bad as him. There's a lot of bad owners. I think people like him is the problem of baseball.
Yeah,
you have a lot of people who don't care about winning. They don't care about the legacy of a franchise. They don't care about just kind of like fan base and all this. They like, look, dude, when we had Brian on last week, there was. Oh, go ahead. What happened?
No. I covered my over. It's fine. But I just want to react to what you're saying. But go ahead. I don't want to keep going. Keep going.
Well, we had Brian on last week. They had no promotions all year. No bobblehead. No, I don't think they had maybe one t-shirt giveaway. And he was saying how it was the Atleticos and the E was spelled wrong, or they used the wrong E. Mm-hmm. They had the Trident foam finger giveaway. They did nothing this year. And I think some of the biggest, and if you're like, oh, well, they're losing money, blah, blah, blah. Look at every franchise still throughout baseball. The A's were like the only team who didn't have promotional giveaways. I went to a freaking Tommy Lasorda bobblehead giveaway. Angels had Ohtani pillow giveaways. The Yankees had some. I was looking at their schedule a few weeks ago. Had some really cool giveaways. The Giants are having giveaways. The A's were the only teams.
I watched Giants games. They're constantly promoting their promotion days on the broadcast.
Little to no marketing in the Bay Area besides email blasts. And I got really like bummed out the other day because I was on A's Reddit or was on A's Twitter somewhere, and somebody was posting old videos of like the old A's commercials from the early 2000s. It's great, but I think that's a part, and I think that's a part of the big problem of why teams went bad this season. That's the reason I had this little conversation tangent is like that was a part of the things that went bad this season. It's like you're not driving people to the stadium. Look how much better they were playing the weekends where people were there as opposed to people are not.
Okay, bear with me because you hit on a lot of things right there that I want to comment on.
Okay, all right, so, take it away.
So the first thing that comes to mind is the giveaways. Brian made a great point. Like the A's don't pay for those. That you get a sponsor, which is so easy to get a sponsor, but yet they don't want to do the work to get the sponsor. So like, that's clearly a sign that they're not trying to really get any promotion out there or anything like that. They're really trying to fudge the numbers so they can like go to baseball, be like, hey, no one's going to our games. Like, let's move to Las Vegas. The second thing about just like ownership, what are you trying to get out of being an owner of a franchise? Because statistics, if you're a businessman, you live on statistics. Statistics show that owning a professional sports team is like the least profitable like money maker that there is. It's like literally the least profitable way to make money in business, because I don't know, the numbers just don't necessarily work, and there's a lot of like hoops to get over in order to like kind of like guide your business plan in a certain way, because it's run by obviously like a league and stuff like that too. So, you know, they say like most professional sports owners, like the reason why they buy a team is like kind of like to flex like their billionaire muscles. Like, I'm so fucking rich, I own a fucking sports team. Like, yeah, like look at that. Except for Jerry Jones, he's probably the only one who's like profited more off of being a sports owner. So it's like I would love to understand what John Fisher's like mindset is as to why he's operating in this fashion, because if you're a businessman, you don't buy a sports team. Like that's just not how it is. Like that's not really how it works. Unless you plan to sell it. Like Joe Lacob has done a great job with that. Like he bought that franchise for like hundreds of millions of dollars, and now it's worth $3 billion. Like you can profit off of that. But if you're trying to make money within the organization, like get revenue from that business venture, like that's not a profitable way to do it. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand that at all whatsoever. So I don't know. It's just like, it's so hard for me to wrap my head around.
You hit a good point too, which is that I just had it a second ago. Great. Lost it. Thanks, Mimosa. No, no, like there's no money that comes out of it. It's so rare for you to put money out of it. And that's what I was going to say, is that you don't understand his mindset. Well, here's the thing, Chris. Nobody does, because he doesn't talk to anybody. Yeah. The guy has never given interviews. And I think if you just would have put a little bit of thought out to what's going on, maybe it could have, we have a little bit more logic and maybe wouldn't be playing the blame game as much. And maybe it might be more, who knows? And the thing that's really weird too, is over the last month, if you're watching the home games, he was sitting behind home plate, like almost every game. He was there in his stupid little camouflage hat, even though we all see you with your camouflage. You're not fooling anybody with your camouflage. It's weird. Look, Chris, we can talk about ownership.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is
more field stuff.
Let's talk about all the field stuff. What worked well? I think the one thing I feel really good about if the guys who they can bring back will be there next season, I don't think there's anything that's gonna hold them back from still being a wild card contender. Because this rotation, if you all three of those guys, the top three of Manaea, Montas, and Bassett, will all still be under contract this year.
But do you think that they keep them though? That's the issue. I don't think they do. I think all three. No, I think Montas stays because I think we have him till 2026. I think he has a pretty favorable contract. But Manaea and Bassett are both done after next season. So in theory, you want to get some value out of that. If there's a good trade partner in the offseason, I think you have to pull the trigger. Otherwise, you can wait until, especially with pitchers. Pitchers are more in demand at the trade deadline. You could wait till the deadline. And if so, it's the era of Montas, Caprillion, and Dalton Jeffries likely. But yeah, also, do you want to start giving the young guys like Jeffries and I'm blanking off the other prospects in the minor league system.
Like Grant Holmes.
The thing is, do you want to give them a shot finally, or I don't know. It's weird.
The weird thing is like we call, Caprillion like, oh, the young guy's like Caprillion's old now, or like in baseball player, he's gonna be 20. He's 27. Dalton Jeffries is 26.
I think for a pitcher, that's pretty reasonable, though. Also, I mean, Caprillion's locked up for a few more years. So in theory, you want to make that transition. He's had injury issues. So, his age is, I feel like his age is a little bit not telling of his career. But yeah, like this year, like he slowed down the second half because he's never pitched as many games in a season before.
Yeah.
He just overrun. Next season, I think it'll be a different story.
I think no matter what, if we want to play the double sides of this, if this rotation still stays together, knock on wood if you're with me kind of thing, I think they're still going to be a pretty good team. I think they can still be in contention as long as those three guys are there. They'll be in contention. But if they move away, if Montas or if Manaea, if Bassett are both gone, who knows? I think they're still going to be average because it's like you're pitching the Coliseum. Of course, I think Frankie's going to be fucking awesome next year if he can kind of continue this.
He looks so
because they realize,
man.
I don't. Yeah, he's like,
more consistent.
He realized like, I don't click with Sean Murphy. Like, great, cool. Yeah. Well, we know that. I think this rotation is still going to be there next year. I hope that stays.
I could see Manaea being traded, but I could see Bassett staying because I could see Bassett signing an extension because he loves the organization. I think that he would be willing to convince his agent to take a compromise if they're willing to offer it. That's the thing. I don't know if the A's are going to offer it. I think Billy Beane wants to. I just don't know if ownership wants to.
Now let's head into the actual offense. Let's head into the infield. If you want to talk, obviously Matt Olson. I am so happy he had this season, and I think the fan base. And there's nobody happier than he is, obviously. But it's like we've talked about how awesome this guy is, how dominant he is for years now, and he had the really rough 2020 season, and a lot of people were rubbing him off. Even I'm going to call out our boys that around the diamond when they did I remember early in this season, they did a top 5 first baseman, top 10 first baseman, and Matt Olson wasn't on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I was like, yo, he's going to prove it. He was.
Yeah, Bobby, you gotta watch more A's baseball, bro. You're tripping out, dude. You're out of your fucking mind.
And then he had a really hot spring training. We were both kind of like, oh, he might be clicking. And sure enough, all career high in RBIs. If he hits a home run today or tomorrow, he'll have 40 on the season. Elite Gold Glove. He really bounced back to what is kind of his median of averages, which is about in the 270s, 280s.
Mm-hmm.
And
which in the Coliseum is 290.
Yeah. And I think we can confidently say now, we've been saying this for some time. He is the best all-around first baseman in baseball.
Yeah.
Easily. Vladdy, offensively, easily, but Vladdy's not a great defensive first baseman to that. Matt Olson is constantly bailing guys out. Think about how much money Marcus is going to be making because of some of the times Matt Olson's had to save his ass. So what do you got to say about him, man? I don't know really where else we can go. I hope he's going to be a top 5 MVP. It's going to be tough, but we'll see.
There's nothing I could say about his performance. You kind of touched on all of that. The only thing I could really say is about his off-season status. Now he's another guy where if this was a fire sale, you'd think oh, he's gone. Julio thinks that he might be traded this offseason. I do not. He's signed until 2024. I think if you're the A's, it's lucrative, especially if you want to somewhat compete next year, to hold on to him. If you get a really good deal next free agency, sure. A desperate team, then sure, you trade him. If you get a really good deal next offseason, you can trade him. Or you could hold on to him until the free agency the following year. There's nothing about his career that would make me think that he's going to slow down, or he hasn't had an injury like Matt Chapman that is holding him back. If you look at his numbers, he's, except for last year, but that was a 60-game season. If you look at his numbers, it's pretty consistent to what he's doing, except his average is higher than it's ever been. So no matter what, he's going to be a big trade piece, and teams are going to call about him. So yeah, I just I can't wrap my head around the idea of him being gone in the offseason. Same with Chapman. Chapman's been a disappointment, but yeah. I think we hold on to him for another year. I think he's one of the guys that we don't ship out if they do hit the reset.
I think,
and also history has shown with Billy Beane, just real quick, history shown with Billy Beane, even when they hit the reset button, they still try to build a little bit. Remember in 2014, they traded everybody, but then in the offseason, they made a trade for Ben Zobrist and Chris Davis. And you're like, wait, what? So are we hitting the reset button, or are we trying to compete? What's going on here?
I want to give another shout out to Around the Diamond boys. If you guys are listening, I love the players you forgot were on these team series. I think Ben Zobrist on the A's would be a great one.
Yeah.
Let's go head up to the middle infield. I like how we're hey, let's keep this organic, but I kind of like the way we've kind of meshed this, kind of just going position by position. Let's go to second and short. Elvis, Josh Harrison, Tony Kemp, Jed Lowry. Chris, I'm going to go ahead and have you take it away with this one, which is the performance. Just kind of how did you feel overall about these guys in the season?
Tony Kemp proved that he could play second base every day.
Tony Kemp is arguably was arguably this third or fourth best player on this team all season.
Yeah.
A position player.
He proved he can play every single day at second base. And I want him to play every single day at second base. If he can hit 260 and, 20 stolen bases and be a gold glove level second baseman, great. That's exactly what we need. We haven't had that since Mark Ellis. I guess you count Jed Lowry, but for the long haul, we haven't had it since Mark Ellis. I think next year he's got that spot on lock. I want him to be there. He's also just a great presence on the field, and he's a great like leadoff type of hitter as well, which is fucking awesome just to see him do that. You can bat him at the top of the order if you need to. He can go to the bottom of the order. He's very flexible. I want him there. Elvis, no, I mean, it's unfortunate with his injury, but I want to see a young guy go in there. We tried it and it was great for what it was, but no, man, I want to see Nick Allen at shortstop. I want to see Nick Allen at shortstop so bad. We spent a first round pick on him. Let's fucking give him a job. He did so good in the Olympics, at least on the defensive side. If he gets more at bats, he'll develop. And if we get a better hitting coach too, maybe he'll be better. But Nick Allen, I want to see Nick Allen there at shortstop next year.
Yeah, I agreed. Elvis, I think Elvis showed he still got a little bit left in the tank throughout the year. He started off horrendous, but after that first month, he really became like a pretty solid shortstop.
Yeah.
Was he like at the end of the day, if you compare his numbers to Trevor Story, I don't think Trevor Story didn't have a good year. And I don't think there was really a big difference between he's got the power, but yeah. And I think the biggest thing you noticed over this last week too is you don't think about how good he was defensively throughout the season until you brought in somebody else. Mm-hmm. So seeing Josh Harrison, who actually we'll have a second conversation about those guys. Seeing like Josh Harrison playing short, making errors, it's like, yep, that's not the biz.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I don't know what to do with them. Like if you do want to go young, who's going to want to take somebody like Elvis Andrews in the offseason? You're pretty much hoping for somebody who is going after.
You have to package him. You have to
package him, or you're pretty much banking on the teams that were going after the crazy shortstop market this year.
Yeah,
completely whiffed, and they're willing to settle with someone like Elvis.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like what we did, though. We kind of settled for Elvis, but
yeah, I guess.
Josh Harrison's gone. I don't want to talk about him. I don't think it's worth.
I loved him too.
He was great, but I don't think it's worth the airtime to talk about. He was very productive. We'll see what he does next year. No, he's gone. He's gonna sign a deal somewhere else. He showed that he can still play this game at a high level. He's hit 290 something. Like he's reliable. He's consistent. Like he's gone. We're not getting him.
I will say though, his last few weeks have kind of hampered his value. I've noticed that I don't think he's not a patient hitter at all. And for him, and you saw a lot when he was having a lead off for a bit.
Yeah.
The dude was just like, when you're so used to, people were kind of bashing on, the Canna leadoff experiment was a failure. I'm like, no, Canna was a kick-ass leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
Like he did what you're supposed to do, which is like you see pitches, you kind of learn. And Josh Harris was a complete opposite of that. So we'll see. I think if anybody stays, he's the person most likely to stay.
Yeah.
Matt Chapman. Said earlier, he broke the 200 strikeout mark. He showed his power still there. So that's awesome to see. He's still the best defensive third baseman in baseball, but he still has a lot of work to do to get back to where he was in 2019, 2018. That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it.
He's got a realigned hip. Like, I can't imagine that's easy to just get over like that. Like it's more or less a new hip. It's not, but it's more or less a new hip. So like, I think if you give him a full off season, because he didn't have a full off season, he had his surgery and his repairment, and then he had to go to spring training and like adjust to this new hip. You give him a whole off season, he can work with a specialist. He's going to be fine. Defensively, he didn't lose a step, but his swing, which is a lot of hips, like there's something going on there. You give him a full season, I think it'll be okay.
Dude, agreed. Like 1000% agreed.
Yeah.
He's even said how long it took for him to at least get something going. He wasn't at where we usually see him at.
And he's another guy. We have him for 2 more seasons. He's not going to get much trade value now because any partner you're going to go to about trading him is going to be like, well, look at his season. So then Billy Bean's going to be like, okay, well, fuck you. He's a top 10 player when he's at top notch in Major League Baseball. So let's hold on to him. We'll see how the market looks at the free agency. We'll see how the market looks next offseason. We'll see how the market looks in 2023 free agency. He's going to be on this team. I'm confident that he's going to be on this team in 2022. Like I would say like 95% confident. Matt Olson, I don't feel that confident in. I'm confident, but I don't feel that confident. But I'm like 95% sure. Matt Chapman will be the starting third baseman next season.
His stock is low, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And he could be a good trade deadline piece next year.
I think you have to, because his agent's Scott Boras, so he's not going to re-sign. So I think you have to wait till he like excels again, and then you can get some value from him.
Catchers, we had 3 main guys throughout the year: Sean Murphy, Aramis Garcia, and then at the trade deadline, Yan Gomes. I'd love if Yan Gomes came back. I don't think it's going to take a lot for him to come back. I just don't think the A's are going to offer him it.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
You don't like him coming back?
No, I think it's a waste.
Really?
Yeah. I've said for past 2 years, I'm really high on Austin Allen. Every time he's come up in the league, he's been nothing but exceptional for a backup catcher. I thought he was really good before Jonah Heim came up, but Jonah Heim is a starting level catcher, which is the reason why he was better. I think Austin Allen clicks with the guys that Sean Murphy doesn't. I don't know what Sean Murphy's deal is with a couple of the pitchers. I think that he, like you said, you have some insider information. You hear that he's like all baseball all the time. I think he might just be a little too intense for some of these pitchers, especially like guys like Sean Manaea, who are a lot more laid back. So I think they need a catcher who's more laid back, and you see Austin Allen really clicks with those guys. I think that he is the perfect guy to just be the backup catcher. And he's always played well. And I wasn't crazy about Aramis Garcia when he first came up, but yeah. I just don't think it's worth it. I would rather have Austin Allen just take that spot and just give him the full-time backup catcher position.
Yeah. Maybe kick the tires on, see if there's any vets you can get for like a cheap deal. Maybe like if Steven Vogt is playing again, bring him back. But yeah, I think Murph has shown enough that this is like his
sophomore slump.
I think he had a full season. Was this his first full season as well?
Yeah.
So I have all the faith in the world. I think we're both big fans of him, I think he's going to be an all-star. But before we move to the outfield,
when Chapman and Olson leave, I think he's the star of the team. His talent's still there. It's just sophomore slump. It happens.
Before we move on, we actually got some legit breaking news right now. We're not going to get too deep into it because I want to keep going to the outfield. Padres to fire Jace Tingler. So we all knew it was coming. Someone's going to be the fall guy with this team, and it was Tingler. He got tingled. I don't know if that was the right term, but anyways. Chris, let's move to the outfield.
I like that term.
Outfield was a bit of a hodgepodge of a mess throughout the season, but I think we can say confidently that Mark Canha was pretty damn good throughout the year. He had his moments, but I think what you got out of him every day, he was healthy for most of the season. I think the leadoff experiment did work. Granted, you lost some of his power because of it. I really, 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 really hope out of all the guys who are going to be free agents, they can find something to work with him because of how deep he's tied into the East Bay. But we'll see. Steven Piscotti is at a really bad year. He got hurt again. Hold
on. You didn't let me touch on Mark Canha.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah,
player by player.
Yeah,
Mark Canha, I don't agree. I think it worked for about a month, and that was it. I like Mark Canha in the 5 spot. I think we should get someone with a little bit more speed and more average at the top of the lineup. I think this season was a proof that on-base percentage can't get you a lot of production out of the top of the lineup. I think it's a different type of pressure on Mark Canha as well. I think he thrives not being the first guy up in the inning. Also he had a lot more bats than normal because he was first. So I think that also has fudged the numbers a little bit. And he has some power. So like we're wasting his power by leading him off. So I like him hitting 25 home runs a season as opposed to 17 home runs a season. So I just disagree.
Do you think there's any chance?
But I also think he's gone.
You think he's gone?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be wherever he's going to go. He's going to flourish.
Yeah,
like this, he's going to be such a good player.
Oh yeah.
Steven Piscotti was pretty much another lost season, and you don't know what they can do with him at this point.
I think he's done too. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate. I love him, but I think. But
like
he's done.
You can't move him at all.
No.
You're pretty much gonna have to, if you're going to want to make a change, you're pretty much just gonna have to cut him. But it's like you're gonna eat that money. It's not a lot of money for other teams after the A's. It probably is. So it's a really shitty situation.
It's like $6 million a year. He signed a massive contract right before he came here. A really player or team friendly contract, like a Scottie Pippen type of contract. Some other team will pick him up. He'll be a backup for a couple of years, and I could totally see him being a coach in our system.
That'd be great. Yeah. I like that idea. Ramon was pretty streaky throughout the year. I think his glove was still there. Julio. He's always been, you're right. He's always been pretty streaky, I think, but the team died when he was suspended. A part of this team, we were so excited. I remember recording the pod when the Marte trade happened, and we're like, dude, this is like one of the best overall outfields in baseball right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is so good. And we had it for like 5 games.
Yeah. We had so much.
He'll be there next year. Yeah. So he will probably be the everyday center fielder. We're assuming Marte is going to be gone, but it really, and it's like, and he also just had surgery today or the other day as well. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I will say one funny thing about him being suspended was it almost kind of sealed him for one more season. Had he not done that, he would be trade bait in the offseason. But now it's like no one's going to pay high value for him. So,
yeah, it was a blessing in disguise, I guess. Who knows? But I
knock on wood.
Do you see him kind of coming back and being where he was at? Yeah. Or do you think might just be the end of it, the start of it?
No. He'll be the same guy. He'll be streaky. He'll be really good when he's hot, and he'll be really cold when he's not. He'll still be the best center fielder defensively in the league. That arm, that speed, the ground he covers. Yeah, I think he'll be the same guy. There's nothing about him that made me think like, performance enhancers are so hard to judge these days. Like, look at Frankie Montas.
Yeah.
Like he's clearly figured it out. And what exactly they do for them, because it's not like Ramon's like fucking yoked out of his mind. He's still this skinny little dude. I don't know. It's hard to judge. I don't know enough about performance enhancers either to give a fair judgment and analysis on it for our listeners.
Now, Marte was awesome. Marte really lived up. I don't think we really can say anything else because he's not going to be on this team next year.
No, I don't. It's not worth airtime.
Not worth the time. I think the most intriguing person, arguably going into next year, is Seth Brown.
Really?
I think he.
You know me. I'm not on the Seth Brown train. I don't like him.
First full year. At the end of the day, I think he showed a lot of pop. He had some clutch moments throughout the year. He had a walk off. He had the game tying home run the other day against Seattle. I don't know what the expectations are of a 30-year-old rookie outfielder.
Exactly.
I don't know what's going to come out of it. Will he be? But at the end of the day, I wouldn't be shocked if he's going to be one of the starting outfielders next year because of the team being so cheap and not really having much better options in the minors at that level who are ready to go up there.
Unless they make some trades.
Yeah. But like there were some moments, some things I really liked him. I think he's got like a pretty solid arm. He's shown his pop does translate into the majors. It's just a lot of learning still. He strikes out way too much. His on base is way too low for what this makes his team good. I think if you just kind of give him a full off season, like we've talked about with other guys already, I could see him being a serviceable outfielder. Like I can see him probably being like a Piscotty kind of player when Piscotti was healthy, like 25 home runs, 260, solid defense. I think he could be that level. It's just like, what do you want? What do you want to do with this team? And is he really worth the investment in the offseason more than anything?
I hear you, but I was really high on Cody Thomas in that trade. I'd like to see him get some playing time in the majors. Who else? Oh my god, it's totally blank.
Our dude, Buddy Reed.
Buddy Reed. Oh my god. Yeah, Buddy Reed. I'd like to see get some playing time and see how he recovers from his injury. So I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it. I don't think he's worth the time. And he's great. He was suitable for what we needed this season ish. But again,
Chad Pender,
he didn't come up in clutch moments when we needed him.
Chad Pender, everyday outfielder.
No, I think Chad Pender's traded in the offseason.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he has some value, and his contract's up next season. He's a 2023 year as well.
Okay. All right. All right, Chris, let's go to end off with the worst part. Let's go to the bullpen. The bullpen that we thought what we were really high on. We got, World Series experience. You got Sergio Romo's there. We got, Trevor Rosenthal's pitched in World Series, and that none of that mattered because Trevor Rosenthal didn't play at all. Sergio Romo was great for about 2 months and then just bad throughout the time. Really, I think they were able to recover well enough for Marcus leaving where it was a pretty serviceable. They were never able to fill Liam's role.
No. Well, because the guy that they bought to fill that role didn't play a single game. So they're going into the season. I think he got hurt a week and a half before the season started, expecting him to be that guy. And he wasn't that guy because he wasn't there. So then Lou Trevino last minute has to fill in the spot, or Jake Diekman, who's got a lot of off-field stuff going on. I don't blame him for the season he had after finding out all that shit. I'm not going to get into it. You could Google it if you want to. Sergio had a lot of bright moments, though. I would love to bring Sergio back in the proper role, the setup role, not the closer role. He had to step up big shoes, and I think that he did the best that he could. Petit, I think it's time for him to retire. He's quite fallen off since his glory days with the Giants and a couple of first early years of the A's. I think this bullpen's a complete rebuild, to be honest with you. I'd love to see Sergio back. I think Lou's going to be back. But I think everybody else, it's just a complete, utter fucking rebuild. Now, do they want to give AJ Puck the closer spot, or do they want to put him back in the rotation? I could see him being in the rotation depending on the moves they make if they trade Manaea or Bass in the offseason. But I think, again, I'm still high on it. He'd be an amazing closer.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about Puck. I can see this team rebuilding. If there's anywhere they spend any sort of money on, I hope it's the pen.
Yeah,
because
absolutely
the A's would be the top wild card seed if some of these games that were blown were like 6-run lead games weren't blowing kind of thing.
I mean, look how many relievers that they just waived.
It was that was our biggest complaint. Was okay, we're gonna waive AJ Puck. We're gonna try out Zoe Scara. Oh, okay, no, we're gonna waive.
It's too late to try and figure it
Jonah
out.
Williams.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. There's a lot of. It reminded me of the video of the guy who's playing the instruments on 6 different the organ, and he's playing. Anyways,
yeah.
Chris, we got to wrap it up. The last thing I want to just ask. Let's grade it. Give me your grade for the 2021 Oakland Athletics.
A D. A D. We should have been in first place. This is a failure. It's a D. Maybe a D minus. It's not a complete F because they're not bad, but it's a D. The expectation was there. The talent was there. They should have taken this, but they made the wrong moves in the offseason. They made the wrong moves-ish. They didn't make enough moves at the deadline in the right places. It's a D. It's a D. Also, Chafin. I'd love to see Chafin come back, but doubt it.
Oh, hell yeah. I love Andrew Chafin. I'm going to go with the C. But for the sake that I think
optimistic
the spots,
Julio in the building.
Yeah, of course, dude. That's why we work well. I think the spots that really shine to an elite level. Frankie Montas is going to be in the Cy Young conversation. He's not going to win it, but I think he deserves some kudos to it.
Absolutely.
Matt Olson's going to be I think he should be a top 5 MVP finalist. It's going to be tough. His name should be in the ring. And Chris Bassett, holy shit, for almost getting decapitated.
If he doesn't get hurt, he's in the Cy Young conversation as well.
1,000%. And I think
finishing top 5.
I think he would have been a really good shot at winning because Garrett Cole and Robbie Ray were shooting it. That being said, a lot of the stuff that we where Brandon Lau just had his third home run of the game. Wow. A lot of the stuff that we were really skeptic about in the offseason, and a lot of things that were like, hey, we're still not hitting good and running a scoring position. This bullpen seems like it was just pieced together. There's not nothing. Everything blew up in our faces. This team has always kind of played by shoestrings on a tightrope, and they finally fell off this season. That was the reality of it. All right, Chris, that was it. So
that's the end of the A's season for this podcast, everybody.
Yes.
We're not going to talk about it anymore. So just heads up, this is going to turn into a baseball playoff podcast. We will still record potentially once a week. I think we're going to go once around at first after the wild card. We're going to do our predictions after the wild card so that we know what the playoff bracket looks like. We might do a preview of the wild card game on Monday, though, just like a quick 30-minute episode preview. But then we'll probably go once a week, especially if a series is interesting, Julio. We should probably record and just talk about it. But this is going to turn into a baseball podcast. This is one of me and Julio's favorite times of the year. The MLB playoffs. We watch every single game minute to minute. So that's what we're moving into. Yeah. Anything else on your end, Julio, you want to talk about?
Yeah, just make sure, around the diamond, our boys, make sure to follow them on Instagram, Twitter. Make sure to give us a follower at the Town Tailgate. Twitter account will be a lot of MLB playoff talk as well. So just be aware of that. No, but I would say just send off. Look, this season was shit. I think we got to celebrate the cool stuff about the season. I think the fact that we had a full season again after how horrible these last couple of years have been has been awesome. So I just want to give a kudos to that. Nobody really got sick. And last but not least, dude, we really got to shout out a legend, Steve Vucinich.
Yeah.
Ending his career, 54 years working the organization, retiring. They're going to be renaming the A's clubhouse the Steve Vucinich.
It was cool that the Mariners gave him a standing ovation. The last game, that was pretty dope.
I don't think that Astro fans are classy enough to do that to them tomorrow, but we'll see.
No, they're a bunch of little bitches. Yeah. So even though it's a tough season, we still got to end the pod the same way. Probably the last time we'll end the pod for the season this way, because we'll just be talking about baseball. But Julio, last but not least.
Let's go, Oakland!